Oh, I'm sorry. Up until today, I've never heard of them before.
I don't really know who the Lions are.
I think they're a local business charity fundraising organisation.
I don't know who the Lions are.
Know nothing about them at all?
I don't know anything about them.
It's a charity putting on local events. That's basically it.
So, who are the Lions? Well, considering how much good they do, it's incredible to think most of us know very little about this extraordinary organisation. Most people, if they've even heard of them, know the Lions as the people who run the local firework display, and that's about it.
The reality is, this organisation is so much more.
Lions clubs are relatively young. The first club was set up in Chicago by businessman Melvin Jones in 1917. Of course, there were business circles and associations before that, but they were always focused on serving members' businesses.
When he started our organization back in the early 1900s, Melvin Jones realized there had to be more than just, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
What if these men, Jones said, who are successful because of their drive, intelligence and ambition, were to put their talents to work improving their communities?
And so the founding principle for Lions clubs across the globe was born.
This combination of businessmen working together to improve their communities and the world at large proved popular, and clubs started to spring up all over the United States and beyond, with countries like Canada, China, Mexico and the Philippines setting up their own clubs. However, it wasn't until after the Second World War that Lions clubs reached our shores. During the war, Canadian servicemen posted to London were appalled by the conditions children of the Blitz were living in. Not only were their fathers fighting overseas and their mothers working in factories, but the children had to deal with poor food, few clothes, constant danger, and many of their homes being destroyed around them. Through the Lions clubs in Canada, the servicemen raised funds to help and were expecting the Lions clubs in England to distribute them. Unfortunately, there was a small problem. There weren't any. So instead, the Queen Mother, at the time Queen Elizabeth, who was patron of the Church of England's Children's Society, arranged for the Society to distribute the funds on behalf of the Canadian Lions. After the war, the Queen was so grateful to the Canadian Lions, she sent her equerry, Colonel Edward Wyndham, to Canada to thank them for their help. He was invited to visit the Chicago headquarters of the Lions Clubs International to see what Lionism was really about, and was so impressed with what he saw that soon after he returned to England in 1950, he set up the first club in Britain and Ireland, known as the London Host Club. And the very first meetings of this host club were held here at the Criterion Restaurant above the Lillywhites building in London's West End. Today, the Lions have clubs in 202 countries and over 1.3 million members. The Lions plan and participate in a wide variety of schemes to help people in need, but there is one area that they have been particularly instrumental in, and it's all down to one remarkable lady. Helen Keller, an inspirational author, political activist and lecturer, who had become blind and deaf at the age of 19 months through illness, spoke at the Lions International Convention in 1925. She challenged the Lions to become the Knights of the Blind in the crusade against darkness.
The Lions took up that charge, and since then they have embarked on a worldwide campaign to prevent blindness wherever possible. We've had both a Campaign Sight First 1 and a Campaign Sight First 2. On Campaign Sight First 2, within 2 years, worldwide, we raised over $200 million. We've probably saved the sight of over 27 million people worldwide. We've undertaken something like 4.5 million cataract operations, and we've actually succeeded in preventing river blindness on the continent of South America.
We invented the white stick. We're trying to invent a talking white stick so people can record their their shopping list on it and things like that. We'd fly people in to do hundreds of cataract operations, and it costs $6 to save someone's eyesight. And if that isn't worth raising money for, I don't know what is.
On a smaller scale, clubs are working to prevent blindness in their local communities by enabling people to have regular eye tests, preventing blindness through conditions such as diabetes and glaucoma. Although sight-related projects are very special to the Lions, it certainly doesn't stop them getting involved in other important areas. In 2004, a devastating tsunami hit Asia. Many hundreds of thousands were killed and millions made homeless. The survivors desperately needed food, accommodation and medical support. The Lions groups from within the affected regions and across the globe rose to the challenge, and much needed aid was provided. Another focus for the Lions worldwide is helping children in need. During the war between Bosnia and Herzegovina in the 1990s, cities were destroyed and many lives were lost. During the devastation, the hospital in Kosovo was bombed, killing many and leaving injured children with no medical facilities. The Lions of the British Isles and Ireland answered the cry for help. With help from the Lions Club's International Foundation, they organised a medical evacuation of 42 critically ill children to hospitals in the UK. 40 of those children survived. But the devastated healthcare service in Bosnia put even more children at risk.
Hospitals have been destroyed, paediatric units have been destroyed, and we have worked very closely with Child Advocacy International, who have been instrumental with our assistance in actually providing funding, both from the UK and through our international foundations, through LCIF, and actually providing hundreds of thousands in funds to actually rebuild and maintain and equip those wards in various hospitals.
Part of the philosophy behind the Lions Clubs is to work towards improving their own communities. And that means, as well as the high-profile schemes, there are lots of smaller projects going on all the time. For example, the Message in a Bottle programme.
Message in a bottle, very, very simple. Plastic bottle, green top, with a green cross on it, which you have a simple form with your name and address and any ailments, which you put into the bottle, put that into your fridge, and have a little label which you stick on your front door. And the emergency services, if they see that, the information is immediately available within that bottle, and so the message is in the bottle.
But projects aren't always about life and death. Sometimes they're about giving deserving individuals a well-earned rest.
This is what we call April in Kettering. We write to all the Lions clubs in the Midlands district and invite them to bring people with special needs here for the day. We've negotiated discounted prices with the park, and that enables them to go on all the facilities here at the park. In total, there are 244 people with special needs here today.
Well, we all get together and have a day out, and we have a wonderful time here. Thanks again for this day out, and thanks again for what you've been doing from charity work. Thank you.
It's the opportunity to allow these young people to go out and do something normal and enjoy their childhood for a change.
We have a disabled son, which is Alfie here. He has cerebral palsy. It's absolutely superb for him. It just brings so much out for him. It's a day of fun, and he just loves it.
The Lions have also been supporting registered charity schemes like Medic Alert, which provide individuals with life-saving medical identification such as bracelets and necklets. This enables medical professionals to access vital information about a person's hidden medical conditions or allergies in an emergency. They also sponsor the Special Olympics, which empowers individuals with intellectual disabilities from more than 180 countries. But of course, this is only half the story. The other side of this remarkable work is raising the money.
100% of the funds we raise goes to the people we are trying to help, either in the community or the wider community in Lions Clubs International.
This event is the Guildford Lions Easter Show. The purpose of the show is to get money for charitable organisations within the area through people attending, and give them a good chance to have a good show as well. There's lots of entertainment, lots going on.
Laying on an event like the fireworks display, we have about 7,000 people who live the field. They've had a cracking time, had a great display, and you realise you've done something. They've raised a lot of money, they've had a good safe environment, and it just gives you a huge feeling of success and satisfaction.
The first year of Lions International, back in 1917, they actually had women in the organization, but their next international convention, they voted not to have women, which was a huge mistake.
So, in 1977, the association formed the Lionesses, a spin-off group that did a very similar job to the Lions clubs, but it was exclusively for women. Since then, the Lions have revised their constitution, and although some Lioness clubs are still running, Lions clubs are now open to both men and women.
20% of our membership in the world right now is women, and it's the fastest growing group of members that we have.
We're all equal, we're all in it together, and you know, if my Lions Club happens to have an event, then my wife's going to go along as well. So, you know, why shouldn't she be a lion just like I am?
Has anybody got... Another spin-off organisation which caters for people too young to be a lion is the Leos. This is a great way for younger service-minded individuals from both sexes to be able to get a taste of what the main organisation does, and also meet other like-minded individuals at the same time.
It's just a young version of the Lions Club, where we go out raising funds by whatever means, and then spending it where the need arises.
And one thing all these groups have in common is they are all part of a huge family, which spans not just the UK and Ireland, but all over the world.
If you're going on business somewhere new, then you go on the Lions website, you find out where the local Lions Club meet, and they take you out for dinner. And you've got 30 or 40 new friends.
I know wherever I am internationally, I can go somewhere and there'll be a Lions Club that I could join or just get involved with.
So what does the future hold for these organisations? Clearly, they've done some amazing work, but to continue into the 21st century, they're in need of new members.
It really is about bringing good, quality people who are leaders within their community, who have the ability to influence people and to work for their communities and to help our organisation to develop.
One new member gives us 2 more hands to do service in our communities. With new members, we can increase the service to our community at home and community around the world. We're meeting more challenges throughout the world, and with more members, we can certainly meet more of those needs.
If you've got to go out walking the streets on a December night and do 3 hours knocking on people's doors, that can be quite tiring. In fact, I actually used it as training for a half marathon once. So you need people who physically can do it, and also people who mentally can bring new ideas in as well, because then it stops things getting stale.
Whether you are already a member of the Lions family, or you are thinking about becoming one, or you are thinking about donating money to help them do their amazing work, you are supporting an organisation whose fundamental principle is to work to improve their local community and the world. A principle which remains unchanged since Melvin Jones set up the first club in 1917. As a Lion, or a supporter of the Lions, you have the potential to change millions of people's lives for the better, including your own.
It feels good to help others. Why not give it a try?
It's putting something back into the community. It's giving people an opportunity to do things that they probably wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
It's the best organisation in the world. You know, the fellowship is wonderful. You get a lot of satisfaction out of doing things for people who are less able and not as well off as you are.
When somebody sees something on TV and they see a natural disaster, a man-made disaster, they sit back in their home and say, how unfortunate. Lions Club members are just a little bit different. They watch that on TV and they say, how unfortunate. Now, how can my Lions Club get involved?
The biggest reward that you can get from helping other people is how good it makes you feel.